Hi guys, welcome back. Uh, in this video, we discuss about Azure Rbac role-based access control. Azure Rbac is the authorization system in Azure that controls who can do what on which resources. So, which resources means that is scope. Who can do what means roles, Rbac role. Okay, and so simple definition: Rbac is equal to assigning permission to users, groups, or apps at a specific scope. So, assigning permission to users. So, group of users or groups or apps at a specific scope. Specific scope means resource or resource group or subscription or management group like that. That is the scope. So, core components of Azure are back. Security principle. So, security principle means who, an identity that needs access. So, whom we have to provide the access. So, actually, that security principles are kind of users, groups, service principles, services principle, which is for app or automation, managed identity. So these are the security. These are come under security principle. So whom we have to provide access. So in that users, groups, service principles, managed identities are there. And role definition. What what uh, what authorization we have to give? A collection of allowed actions. So what are the actions we have to provide? That is the role definition. Types of roles, built-in roles. Built-in roles always recommended, and the custom roles. When built-in role is not sufficient, so we create custom role and we assign that role to users or groups or service principal or managed identities. So like that we assign. So custom built-in roles, data roles like blob data reader are different from management roles. So management roles are different and data roles are different. Data roles separately will get, and so whenever we want to apply and storage, so that we have to apply in data roles separately. And management roles are below we mentioned role permission. The first is owner. Actually, owner have full access plus assign role. He has full access plus he can able to assign the roles. Contributor will have full access. No role assignment permission he has. He don't have the permission to assign the role contributor. Only he can have full access. And reader have only view only access, and he can able to view any resource, but he can't able to change or he can't able to do anything with that except view. User access administrator. So manage access only. So user access administrator means he can able to manage only access. So he can't able to do anything. He can't able to assign roles. He can't able to get full access. He can able to view and manage access only. And virtual machine contributor. So virtual machine contributor role gives permission for manage VMs. So we can able to create VM and delete VM, modify VM like that. Storage blob data contributor, read write blob data. So if you assign a role to any user, right, the storage blob data contributor, he can able to read write blob data. So next one is a network contributor. So if you assign a network contributor role to any user, he can manage networking. So he can able to manage networking. Okay. And so these are the different roles, and these are the permissions. So what this role, what kind of permissions he can provide? This role can provide. So these are the permissions, and there are other roles also, but we have mentioned commonly used roles, and so there are many roles. And if you open RBAC IAM Identity and Access Management, you can see the roles, built-in roles there. And scope. Scope means so which area we have to give the permission, like users, how many users or groups. So which group we have to provide access to, which group we have to provide access. So that kind of thing is scope. Defines how wide the permission apply. So scope defines how wide the permissions apply. So like scope we can mention like management group and subscription, resource group, resource. These are comes in scope. So if you apply on management group, it will apply on subscription, resource group, resource. If you apply on if you apply any role on subscription level, and it will apply on resource group, resource, like that. Permissions inherit downward. So whenever you applied on management group, it inherit to subscription, resource group, resource. Suppose you apply on subscription level, and it will inherit to resource group, resource. So like that. So role assignment will be binding of security principle plus role plus scope. So just we mentioned security principle, that is username or security principal name. So or any group. Sorry, security principal name. Security principal is under security principal. We can see these things plus role, whichever role we have to assign. So that role also we mentioned, and plus scope. Scope means whether we have to assign on management group or subscription or resource group or resource, like that. That is the scope. How RBAC works? So what is the workflow of RBAC? User or app go to Azure authentication. Okay, and RBAC authorization check. Uh, uh, Suppose any user want to connect to any user want to access, right? User first authentication with Azure ID. So Azure ID is for authentication. So username and password. So multi-factor authentication, two-factor authentication. It is just that, and it is Azure ID is used for other authentication. So first level gatekeeper. So it actually it checks everything, and so if user is authenticated, then only it will allow access to Azure resources. And so later RBAC authorization check. So later RBAC authorization check will happen. First it is authenticated, next it will check the RBAC authorization check. So what are the authorization we provided, that it will check, and based on that check, whether that user has authorization for this resource, and so if he has required role, then only it will allow, otherwise it will deny the access. So two common things you have to remember. One is Azure AD is equal to authentication, Azure RBAC is equal to authorization. So first, once authentication is completed, next authorization comes into the picture, and that is actually provided by RBAC. Authentication is provided by Azure AD. So there are two differences. So that we have to remember. Example scenarios. Example one, VM admin access. Suppose VM admin access we have to provide to one specific user. That username, let's say here in this example, VM admin at the rate company.com. What is the role we have to assign? Role virtual machine contributor role. So if we assign virtual machine contributor role, so we have to select the scope also. So which scope we have to assign? So this is the here I have mentioned the resource group name. Resource group prod RG. So scope we have to mention resource group as a prod RG. Prod RG is the resource group name. So what it does? So can manage VMs. Okay, and so if you assign this role, and it can manage VMs only, and cannot delete resource group. So that role permission can't delete. With that role permission, user can't delete any resource group. User cannot manage storage or networking. So we provided only virtual machine contributor role. So you can't do any other things. Only you can do only whatever role assignment has provided. That only that scope of work only can do. And example two, storage read only. So let's say that you want to give storage read-only access. So let's say here user is reporting plus user, sorry, hyphen user. So username is like this. So username will be like anything. Username can be ABC or BCD or CD, CDF like that. The username anything like Ram, Krishna, and anything username, that is username. Actually organization, how many users are there, so we have to mention that specific user. uh, Role assignment, so storage blob data reader, so role name is like that, storage blob data reader. So suppose you created custom role and you have to give that custom role name there. So under role you have to give the custom role name, and the scope storage account. So, scope where we are giving this permission on storage account. Storage account we are assigning this role. Okay, authorization. So, so if you assign this role on storage account, that role actually gives us the access of read blob data. So only read blob data. It gives us only read only we are giving, right? So only it gives the access of read blob data. Cannot create or delete containers. So when you are providing only read only role, and it cannot create or delete containers, because we haven't provided any uh, mm, full control, right? So only we are providing read only here. So next example, subscription admin. Suppose you want to give any role to one administrator as a subscription admin. Suppose let's say that user is here in the example cloud architect username, and role, what role we are giving, owner role we are giving. So, scope subscription. So we are selecting subscription. So whichever subscription, like subscription name, we can select. And when you provide owner role, and you get that cloud architect, that is the username, right? So you get full control plus SN roles. So you can able to you can get full access plus you can able to assign roles. So owner role is the full access role. So how to assign RBAC? So RBAC, how we assign? So go to Azure portal, go to resource or resource group or subscription. So you have to select that, and if you selected that, and you can left pane you can see access control or access control bracket IAM, identity and access management. Then you will get the option as add, and so just click on add, and when you click on add, there you will get role assignment, and just click on role assignment, select role. So whichever role you have to give, and that role you have to select, built-in role or custom role, and user group, user or group. This is scope. So which scope of users or groups you are giving, that you have to select. Okay, and Azure Rbac role, how we have to create assignment. So role assignment, how we have to create, and Azure CLI, that is the command AG role assignment create slash hyphen assignee is the username, user@company.com, hyphen role, so contributor, and hyphen scope, subscription ID, or resource group, product, resource group name. So this is the command, and if you want to use PowerShell for giving assigning role, and so this is the command, new hyphen AG role assignment, sign in name. Sign in name means username, user@company.com, role definition name. So what is the role definition name? That is reader or owner or contributor. So that we have to provide hyphen scope. Scope, on which scope we are providing here in subscription only. We are providing on subscriptions. Okay, subscription ID we have to give. So that is the command. RBAC versus Azure policy versus logs. They work together, not replace each other. So when you are working with RBAC, right, and you can see Azure policies plus logs also, they work together but not replace each other. So they are work for different purposes. Each one has a unique purpose to use. So feature is RBAC. So purpose is who can access. So RBAC authorization we provide, right, in the RBAC. So who can access what? So Azure policy, what is allowed? In the policy, we mentioned that what is the permission allowed. Okay, and resource locks. When you lock the resource, and so it prevent or deletion change, deletion and changes. So when you enable the resource lock, and it prevents deletion of that resource or change of that resource, so it prevents. Best practices follow least privilege. So whatever the extent of permission we have to give, that only we have to give. We don't provide. We should not provide additional access. Only let's say, so some user want to read resources in the Azure portal. So that extent only we have to provide the access. We do not provide contributor. So if you provide contributor, you can able to modify. So that's what actually follow least privilege. This is best practice. And next best practice is use groups, not individual users. So whenever applying roles, right, and so you apply on groups. So actually groups belong we create groups for dev, and we create another group for prod, and we create another group for QA, and we create another group for sales. So if you apply any role on that group, and it will apply to all the users that belongs to that group. So that is easy, right? And when uh, so this is reduce the administrator overhead. And so if you want to assign each and every user, that is taking long time, as well as there is manual work involved in that. So avoiding that, so use groups, and not individual users. So assign roles at the highest required scope. Suppose we want to assign specific role on all users, all resources in that subscription and management group. Suppose let's say you assign that role at management group level, and it will inherit to subscription resource groups resources. Entire all resources in that management group will get that access. So assign roles at highest required scope. Prefer built-in roles. So built-in, there are so many built-in roles, and so for your purpose, just first prefer built-in roles only. If built-in role is not sufficient, you have specific requirement, and you have to provide specific roles to a group of users or groups. So then you prefer custom role. Okay, and review access regularly. So whatever roles you assign, so that need to be reviewed regular basis. And if role is not no more required, and you can revoke that role from that user or group. Use PIM for just in time access. Suppose some development users want to access for some resources for a couple of months or a couple of weeks. In that case, just you use just-in-time access. It is a security feature. So, so this it provides some time-bound access. Like you can mention the time, like 1 week or 1 month or 1 day, 1 hour, like that. So you can use this. In the best practice, you can use privileged identity management for just-in-time access. So these all we have to follow. Actually, these are best practices in Azure Rbac, role-based access control. Important notes: deny assignments, override, allow permissions. Okay. Suppose you want only specific permissions to some users and don't apply on management group level. And if you apply on management group level, it will apply to all the resources in under the resource management group. So that you have to avoid, and so you have to provide access to specific groups or specific subscription, whichever scope you want, right? So that only you have to provide. Okay, and deny assignments, override, allow permissions. So that is about that. And RBAC changes may take 5 to 10 minutes to apply. Whenever you apply RBAC changes, RBAC role assignment, it takes 5 to 10 minutes to reflect, and so we have to wait 5 to 10 minutes. Then we have to verify the authorization and role assignment. Classic roles are deprecated. So earlier it was there was classic roles and so ASM roles that were deprecated already. So interview quick answers. So when you go for interview of RBAC, and they may ask a difference between contributor and owner. What is the difference between contributor and owner? Just simply you have to say owner can assign roles, contributor cannot. Can RBAC restrict VM start stop only? Yeah, you have to say answer yes using a custom role. So we have to actually there is no built-in role, and we have to create custom role, and we have to assign it to uh, a specific a VM. We have to assign that role to specific VM, then it will happen. VM start stop. Is RBAC applied at a data level? RBAC RBAC only with data roles, not management roles. Data level, there are data roles, and that can be applied, not management roles. Data level, we have to apply data roles only. So management roles won't work on those. So what is the role? Azure roles. Azure roles are part of Azure Role-Based Access Control, RBAC. They define who can do what on which Azure resources. So role means part of Azure RBAC access control, and they define who can do what on which resource. Role means this actually who can do what on which resource. So who is the owner, and sorry, who is the user, and what you want to do, and which resource you want to do, like that. So that and all comes in roles. Why Azure roles are important? So why Azure roles important? Actually enforce least privilege access. So enforcing least privilege access, this is role is we use roles for enforcing least privilege access. So suppose user want some extent privilege only. In that case, only we provide. Suppose one one administrator we want to provide only VM administrator role. Then we provide VM administrator only. So let's say that if you provide owner, right, he can manage all resources, and he can able to assign roles to other administrator. That is actually that is not compliance with the security. So that's why enforce least privilege access only by using roles. So we have to enforce the least privilege access. Improve security and compliance by using roles, right? And so it will improve security and compliance also. We have to comply compliance also will be there with roles. So we assign roles to specific and specific users or groups, and specific activities, authorization and permissions only we assign, right? So that takes security and compliance in the organizational environment. Separate duties: admin versus user or versus editor. So duties also will be separated by roles, because admin will have to work on something. Admin will have to work on creating VMs and creating resource groups. and creating networks, okay, creating data storage accounts. User only he can able user no need to have these kind of permissions, and user only need to have reader access, right? So in that case, we provide we separate duties by using the roles. Auditor only audit logs or any security events or anything, right? So we provide that extent of role only. Control access at scale. By using roles, we can control the access scale at scale. Means we just apply roles on groups or users, specific users or subscription management groups like that, right? So access we can control by using segregating roles on those scope of users or groups like that. Azure Rbac core components, security principle. So in Azure Rbac, there are some core components. So first one is security principle. So security principle means and who is the user, and user or group or service principal or managed identity. So these are coming to the security principle. And role definition. What are the permissions? Set of permission, actions or not actions. So set of permissions. Role definition means set of permissions. And scope, where we have to apply these roles. Management group level, subscription level, resource group level, resource level. Access is inherited from higher to lower scopes. So suppose this means if you apply any role on management group level, it inherited means it will apply on all subscription resource group resource level. And if you apply any role, if you add assign any role to resource, and it won't apply on management group level, subscription level, resource group level. So higher to lower only it will apply. Lower to higher it won't apply. Types of Azure roles. Built-in roles, most common. Yeah, we talked about built-in roles, right? The general roles, owner role, contributor role, reader role. So owner have full access plus manage access also for other users, other administrators. Contributor role, full access except RBAC. So contributor role, except RBAC, everything you can have full access. And the reader, view only access he has. Common service roles. Other roles, common roles are virtual machine contributor, manage VMs. That is used for managed VMs. Storage blob data contributor, read write blobs, network contributor, manage VNets, NSGs. So specific roles are there, and these are built-in roles. Backup contributor, manage backups only. Security reader, use security settings. So these are the some kind of example security example common roles. Okay, and there are other roles also that we can other built-in roles also. We can use those roles whenever those are required. Custom roles. So custom roles means create your own role if built-in roles are broad. So built-in roles you don't want, and you don't want to use built-in roles. Built-in roles, suppose you do owner access and it is giving you entire permission, right? If you prevent anything, any kind of permission, and so you can create your own role. Example, VM start stop only, no delete. So only for VM start stop, if you want to create any custom role, permissions used Microsoft Compute Virtual Machines start action. Microsoft Compute Virtual Machines deallocate action. So whenever you want to stop deallocate, so that permission role you can create like this. Azure AD roles versus Azure AD are back very important. They are not the same. Both are not the same. AD roles and Azure RBAC roles. AD roles, Azure RBAC resource. Azure Rbac, Azure AD roles, and resource access, Azure Rbac resource access. For resource access, we use Azure Rbac. Azure AD roles, so identity management. So managing identities, authentication. Authentication purpose, we use Azure AD roles. Okay, and work on Azure resources. And Rbac works on Azure resources. Azure AD roles works on users groups. Azure AD roles, it works on Azure users and groups. Okay, and example VM contributor. Here example user administrator. So those are the difference between Azure Rbac and Azure roles. Azure Rbac access purpose we use. Azure AD we use for identity management. Okay, and authentication purpose. This Rbac is authorization. Rbac is authorization. Azure AD is authentication. Scope hierarchy diagram. Management group. Scope is like this, and first management group, and the next subscription, next resource group, next resource. Role assignment rule. Effective permission is called role plus scope. So effective permission role assignment, how we assign? First we take the role and we select the scope. Example, redirect subscription. Read everything. So let's say redirect subscription. Read everything. Contributor at resource group. Manage only that resource group. So if you provide contributor on resource group level and manage only that resource group. Reader at subscription level, suppose subscription level you provide reader access, read everything on that subscription like that. So common interview questions: can user have multiple roles? Suppose if you face this kind of question, can user have multiple roles? You can say yes. Permissions are additive. So permissions we can we can add, right, that user. So multiple roles we can give. Is deny, suppose one user want to work on virtual machine management as well as data storage management. So you can provide both of them to that particular user. Is deny assignment possible? No, explicit deny. Accept system manage. So deny assignment possible. No explicit deny. So accept system managed. So if it is system managed role is there, so then it can be possible. So role explicit deny won't be possible. Best practice: assign role to groups, not users. Always best practice is group level we have to assign roles, not users level. User level we don't. It's not required to assign role, right? So yeah, whenever you are assigning roles, and you should assign on group level. So it will apply to all users in that group. How to assign roles? Suppose what are the steps to assign roles? And go to Azure portal and go to resource group or subscription. So access control, select access control, identity and access management. IAM, add, click on add role assignment. Azure CLI, we already discussed, right? Azure CLI, this is command Azure role assignment create hyphen assignee username role contributor scope subscription ID. Best practices: use least privilege, prefer built-in roles, assign roles at higher scope when possible, audit access using access reviews, avoid owner role unless required. So use least privilege. Whatever permission that user required, that permission only we have to provide. And more than that, we do not provide. Use least privilege only. So least privilege we have to provide. What extent user access is required, that only we have to provide. Prefer built-in roles. Always prefer built-in roles. Custom roles are not required most of the times. Assign roles at higher scope when possible. Assign roles at higher scope. Suppose you want to assign role to all the resources in that management group. In that case, you assign role on management group level. Then it will apply to subscription management group and resource group and resource level. All, all they that role will assign on all those resources under the management group. Audit access using access service. So all actually frequent. This we have to do regularly. Audit access reviews will be there, and we have to audit the access. So access is still required or not, we have to make sure. And if access is not required, we can revoke that role. Yeah, so that permission from that user or group. Avoid owner role unless required. So a owner role, no need to give everyone. And so if there are any architect level or administrator level that owner role is required, then only we have to provide. So owner role we don't provide anyone. Like only that owner role provide for the manage of who is managing of all resources. So in that case only we provide owner role. So owner role get all the permission, right? So he can get full access as well as he can able to add the roles to other administrators and architects like that. You will get. So that's all about Azure Rbac and Azure roles. Thank you, guys.